On today's Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, Dbacks use power and Brandon Pfaadt to take down the Marlins in Game 2, but can Erod keep the good vibes up in the rotation going in Game number 3?
You are Locked on Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. You're listening to who? The always charismatic host of this podcast, Millard Thomas, multimedia journalist, and a graphic designer. So please go check out my website, millardthomas24.myportfolio.com. On there you can see all my latest work, from my packages to my articles to my photos and my graphic design. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. On today's Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, we're going to be discussing Dbacks clobbering the Marlins in Game 2, righties versus lefties, looking at the contrast for Dbacks batters in 2025, and then breaking down if Erod can keep the good vibes going in segment number 3. So a jam-packed pod for you guys as always, but first want to say thank you for making Locked on Diamondbacks your first listen every day. I would not be able to do this podcast without you, my loyal listeners, sharing, subscribing, reviewing, doing all that so I could do this podcast for you. Thank you. It's free. It's available on all platforms, so please continue to tell your friends. And one of those platforms is YouTube. Please hit subscribe to Locked on Diamondbacks on YouTube. We are currently live. We've been trying to go live on YouTube Sunday through Thursday after Dbacks games. So follow me on YouTube. Follow me on social media at CareerThomas24 for my personal account on Twitter, or look up Locked on Diamondbacks both Twitter and Instagram for the podcast handle, because I always tweet out before I go live. So follow me on social so you can see where I'm at, because this is an interactive show when I go live. If you're watching, please drop comments in the YouTube section, and I will read them as the show goes on. But now let's get into the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast. Back here on the Locked on Dbacks podcast, Dbacks take down the Marlins in game number 2 with a huge victory behind Brandon Pfaadt and their offense. This was a near perfect game by Arizona. So far, a near perfect series by the Dbacks, as they have clobbered the Marlins through the first 2 games. They scored 10 runs in game 1. 6 runs in game 2. That's 16 runs total. And they've been doing it a lot via the long ball, via the home run. 7 bombs the last 2 days for the Dbacks. And of course, it's a lot of the same culprits at the top of the lineup. We got Josh Naylor once again, back-to-back days with the home run. This is a player who feels like he's starting to heat up from the power department. When talking about Josh Naylor coming to the Dbacks this season, we said, looking at his last 2 years, in 2024, monster power year, 31 home runs, 100-plus ribbies, but the average, right, some of the slash line numbers wasn't quite there. But you looked at his 2023 numbers, a 300 average, right? The slash line was there, but the power, only 17 bombs. We said if he could combine his 23 season with that really high contact ability, really good slash line with his 2024 year with all that power, that could be a superstar type offensive player. And so far for the Dbacks in 2025, Josh Naylor looks to be combining his contact ability with his raw power, because right now he has 3 home runs on the season. The power feels like it's heating up, and the slash line, 328, 403, 552. We even saw him with a great sliding grab at first base late in the game today. So not only is it his offense that feels like it's heating up, but also the defense of Josh Naylor as well. And then, of course, you got Pavin Smith, who just continues to just straight up outplay Jock Peterson in the 2025 season. Jock, entering today's game, had a .07 batting average. He had 3 hits and 43 at-bats. He had a .093 slugging, a sub 100 slug, because he has 1 double on the season, no home runs, no triples, I love Jock Peterson, but so far that has been an amazing bet by Arizona because Pavin Smith now, after today's home run, already has, where's the number? Where's my home run number for Pavin Smith? Here it is. Pavin Smith, after today's game, now has 2 home runs on the season. And if you look at the StatCast numbers on his home run today, 109 off the bat, 429 feet, monster bomb by Pavin. It's always fun to see which ballpark it wouldn't have been a home run in. Home run in 29 of the ballparks. The one ballpark it would not have been a home run, Coors Field. The Josh Naylor home run from tonight, where are the numbers on that? The Josh Naylor home run, where did that thing go? I just had it. Josh Naylor. Oh, here it is. Josh Naylor tonight, just like last night, 105 off the bat, 398 feet, but only a home run in 6 of the 30 ballparks. Just like last night, his home run really wouldn't have been a home run in a lot of ballparks. Same with tonight, but you don't care at all. You just like to see the ball go over the fence. And of course, Tim Tawa, first home run of his major league career. We had the power at the top of the lineup. We had Corbin Carroll, of course, coming through for the D-backs to give us the first lead of the game. He's now on a 9-game hitting streak. Corbin Carroll has the best, or excuse me, he has the second best WRC plus in the National League, at least entering today's game he did. Maybe he's the leader now after today's game, but he was second behind Pete Alonso. He was first in F4 in the National League. Like right now, you can make the case that Corbin Carroll is the MVP of the National League. Go look at his numbers, the first 15 games of this season versus last season. The contrast, the difference between how Corbin Carroll starting this year versus last year, the difference is insane. Then, of course, you had also a Lourdes Gurriel bomb late in this game. He only had like 2 hits in his last like 10 games. Like that was huge for Lourdes Gurriel. So the power was there for the D-backs. Brandon Pfaadt was fantastic. Yes, he still gave up the 1 home run. Thankfully, there was no one on base. There was a couple other pitches like to Matt Mervis where he did leave a couple in the middle of the plate that he didn't crush. But outside of that, fantastic start by Brandon Pfaadt. Thought some of his pitches, I thought some of the horizontal movement on a couple of his pitches were fantastic. And also, he was able to rack up some strikeouts, something we've been asking for because Pfaadt has not been able to really put away pitchers, or excuse me, put away batters this season. So I thought he did a good job of doing that in this game. I wish he would have went 1 more out because if Brandon Pfaadt finished that 6th inning and got the quality start, it would have been 7 straight starts by D-backs pitcher to have a quality start. So the rotation finally rounding into form. Bullpen, Shelby Miller. We need to do a podcast on him later this week because he's been fantastic all season. J Mart continues to be absolutely shut down, locked down. Maybe we need to have a conversation about Shelby Miller being the setup man because AJ Puk came in the game. He was probably the one hiccup, giving up an earned run. Now, AJ Puk, whenever he does give up runs, it never feels like it's in a moment where the other team is really threatening us or really have a chance to come back. It always feels like meaningless runs given up by AJ Puk, but still, it does make you wonder with how Shelby Miller is pitching. Do you look at him as a potential 8th inning guy, or is he like the 7th inning guy when Kevin Ginkel comes back? Like, good problems for the D-backs to have. So many good relievers right now in this bullpen. Not something we typically say about the Arizona Diamondbacks because I know when I took over the podcast in 2020, the bullpen was probably the D-backs' biggest issue, especially when it came to closing games. But not anymore with J Mart, with Puk, with Shelby, with Kevin Ginkel, with Kendall Graveman. D-backs now have a plethora of options. Great game by the D-backs in game 2. Offense came alive. Pitching came alive, and we saw the D-backs from both the right and left side really be productive in this game. And we'll discuss how the right side needs to be more productive like they were tonight in segment number 2. But first, I want to talk to you guys about the Amazon Fire TV because did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? Turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe, or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to play. Dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25 to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed as easily as you stream your favorite shows. It's gaming made simple, and it's all on your Fire TV. With Wi-Fi, 6E, and auto low latency mode advanced technology, Fire TV Stick 4K delivers smoother, more responsive gameplay with lightning fast speeds so you can stay competitive all the time. With 4K streaming, watch more than 1.5 million movies and TV episodes from your favorite subscribed services like Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Max, and more. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Generation. Back here on the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast, let's read some comments. I struggled to read some comments live on the YouTube channel, so let's see if we could do a better job today. Mauricio Calazzo said, shout out to Tawa. Hit his first big league home run. Yes, he did. Elephant Physics said, Moreno, Gurriel, and Suarez starting to get it back. It was nice to see them get some hits and score some runs. Ocean View Coffee Shop said, Dbacks back on track. Corbin Barrows said, I wish Torrey would have let Pfaadt get that third out. I agree, Corbin Barrows. I think we would have all liked to see that. So I read at least one comment from each person who just dropped something in the YouTube section. So shout out you guys for watching this live and making this an interactive show. But now let's talk about Dbacks offense, righty batters versus lefty batters, because we saw in today's game how good the Dbacks offense can be when you have both sides of the plate putting in work, because we know the D-backs the last few games, the left side of the offense, and really all season, the left side of the offense has been carrying. When you look at Corbin Carroll, Geraldo Perdomo when he's batting from the left side, Pavin Smith, Josh Naylor, like when there's a righty on the mound, D-backs are throwing out four lefties to start the game. And honestly, it feels like that lineup is pretty locked. When there's a righty on the mound, it feels like you're going to get, right now, at least with Marte out, Carroll, Perdomo, Smith, Naylor, Gurriel, Suarez, Moreno, Thomas or McCarthy, and then Tim Tawa or Garrett Hampson. Like, I kind of like that lineup. I would keep Tawa in over Garrett Hampson. And then Thomas is swinging a better bat right now than Jake McCarthy. So I kind of like that locked-in lineup right now when there's a righty on the mound, because the D-backs lefties have been crushing it. So it makes sense to stack them at the top of the lineup. But when there's a lefty on the mound, we're going to need this offense from the right side to come through a little bit more than what they've been doing in 2025, because so far the D-backs right side is getting vastly outplayed by the left side of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and it's not particularly close when you look at the numbers this season. The D-backs left side of their offense is just doing dramatically better than the right side, and it's easy to do that when you look at some of the batters for the D-backs on the left side of the plate, right? When you have a guy like Corbin Carroll, who you can make the argument is the MVP of Major League Baseball right now. Like I said, entered today's game, second WRC plus, first in F-WAR. Like, he's having himself a fantastic season, and it's not just him. Entering today's game, a guy like Josh Naylor, he was 9th in WRC plus in the National League. And so the lefties are putting in work for the Arizona Diamondbacks. But when you look at some of the righties for the D-backs, a guy like Lourdes Gurriel entered today's game 4th lowest WRC plus among right-handed batters in the National League. A guy like Eugenio Suarez, 23rd among right-handed batters in WRC plus, 23rd lowest WRC plus among right-handed batters in the National League. And so the lefties for the D-backs were clearly carrying the offense most of the season. And even when you look at the team splits against right-handed pitching this year, a 270 average, 852 OPS. And against the lefties this year, a 230 average, and a 653 OPS. 200 points better in OPS against righties as opposed to lefties. And so the D-backs need their right side to just do way better, because when there's a righty on the mound, yes, your offense is going to look fantastic when you're stacking it at the top with Corbin Carroll, Perdomo, a guy who's playing better than Jock Peterson and Pavin Smith. And you also have Josh Naylor. Like, that top four in your lineup looks fantastic. But as soon as you get to that 5, 6, 7 spot in your lineup, it's a lot of struggles. Lourdes Gurriel had the big home run tonight, but on the season, he's really been struggling. You look at his numbers against fastballs this year. Last year, he was a 303 hitter against the fastball, a 462 slug against the fastball. Entering today's game, a 143 average and a 286 slug. He needs to get back to crushing the fastball if he wants to be a better hitter. And one thing he has not hit at all this season, an off-speed pitch. If you throw an off-speed pitch to Lourdes Gurriel, you're probably going to get him out, because he is yet to record a hit. Now, he only has 3 at-bats against off-speed pitches, but hasn't been effective against the off-speed pitch yet in 2025. But really, it's the fastball. When you look at the difference from his career, how that used to be the pitch he's crushed the most this season, not the case. Same with Eugenio Suarez. Last year, 290 average, 499 slug against the fastball. That was the pitch he crushed the most. This season, 2025, a 129 average and a 323 slug against the fastball. Both of those guys have to be better. Those are pitches when they come down the pipe, come down the middle of the plate. You look at Suarez, you look at Gurriel as the 2 power hitters, right? Suarez for sure. We know Gurriel has some pop. And if those guys are not hitting fastballs for you as your number 5 and your number 6 hitter, I think that's a major, major problem. That's why I'm pro. Yes, he's also been struggling, but a guy like Gabriel Moreno, I would like to see him move up to that number 5 spot and move Gurriel and Suarez down. I feel like Gabriel always plays better when he hits closer to the top of the lineup than the bottom of the lineup. And so if you put him as the number 5 hitter right behind Josh Naylor, I would like that a lot. I love the plate appearances and just like the overall approach by Gabby. I think he has a better command of the strike zone, more likely to get on base via the walk, less likely to strike out as well, and better contact ability overall. He's just going to do a better job of putting the ball in play and getting a productive out. And so I would not be mad at all if Gabriel moved ahead of both Gurriel and Suarez in the lineup. And then one final thought that I had to potentially improve the right side, and maybe this should have been the headline of this segment, but should the D-backs consider bringing up Jordan Lawlar so that right side of the plate, the right side of the D-backs offense can be a little bit better? Because Jordan Lawlar is off to another fantastic start for the Reno Aces. 292 average, 918 OPS. He's got a few home runs. He's playing fantastic defense. And it's like, Tim Tawa had a home run today, but on the season, Tim Tawa, 222 average, 250 OBP. Garrett Hampson does nothing for you. Ketel Marte's out the lineup. Like, you just might need more production from your infield overall. And we know we need more production from the right-handed batters on this D-backs team. And so maybe the D-backs should consider calling up Jordan Lawlar for the next few weeks until Ketel Marte comes back, or maybe the rest of the season, and just make him that super utility guy for Arizona. Of course, the D-backs still want to give Jordan Lawlar as many everyday opportunities as possible, want him to be the everyday starting shortstop. But when you look at this D-backs team right now, the one thing that they're missing, or like the biggest flaw, weakness that they have, is the fact that their right-handed batters are just not coming through enough, not consistently enough, not producing at a high enough level, despite this team offense being really good. And so maybe Arizona just needs a little injection of that Jordan Lawlar juice into this lineup. Maybe it could help spark the other guys, be the catalyst, the Gurriels and the Suarez's, if they see another young right-hand batter come up and just immediately start playing well. Maybe it could spark something for them. So just a little food for thought. Maybe drop in the YouTube comment section if you think it's a good idea for the D-backs to call up Jordan Lawlar or not this early in the season, or if you would rather him get as many everyday opportunities as possible with the Reno Aces. Now we'll discuss Jeremy H. Perez says, can't send Tawa down after a start. Drop Hampson, bring up Lawler till Ketel gets back. I do not mind that at all, Jeremy Perez. Now we'll discuss if Erod can keep the good vibes going with the D-backs rotation in segment number 3. But hey, I first want to talk to you guys about my favorite place to buy tickets. It's called Game Time because there's nothing better than catching an MLB game live, the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food, especially that churro dog. And if you're looking to get last-minute tickets, go to Game Time. With last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as the game time gets closer. Means you score a better deal the longer you wait. It's my favorite feature from Game Time. Whenever there's a concert like Kendrick Lamar next month, I'm not going to buy my ticket till the day of. That's what me and my old roommate used to do. I promise you, we got the best deals ever for concerts waiting till the day of on Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And now we have one more ad read for you guys because I need to talk to you guys about Prize Picks. Basketball and hockey playoffs are heating up, and there's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. For Prize Picks, you simply pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You can even combine players across sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Best believe with the Lakers starting this weekend, I'm taking the more on the Luka points, the more on the LeBron points, and the more on the Austin Reeves points. When that hits, it brings a big smile to my face. And if you want a big smile on your face, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. All right, back here on the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast. Coda Kid said, my bad for being late. What's happening, fellas? Love the community coming together. I see some people in the YouTube comment section that I see after every D-backs game. So I love the fact that we're building a community here. So again, I'm going to try and be as consistent as possible, going live for the D-backs on YouTube Sunday through Thursday after D-backs game. So make sure you follow me on Locked on Diamondbacks on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button with the little bell so you get notified when I go live. And of course, follow me on Twitter at CreatorThomas24 for the personal account, or look up Locked on Diamondbacks, both Twitter and Instagram, for the podcast handle. But now let's discuss Erod in Game 3, because we got Erod on the mound going for the D-backs versus Edward Cabrera of the Marlins. And I don't know if it'll be the pitching duel like we saw today, because we kind of predicted that pitching duel today. Of course, that Max Meyer slider was nasty. We hyped it up in the preview, and we saw him throw it consistently against the D-backs. Well, going against his next series, it's about Edward Cabrera's changeup. But I first want to start with Erod, because in 2025, Erod has shown major improvement, and I don't think the stats really justify it. I mean, of course, if you look at just the traditional stats like ERA and stuff, I don't think I don't think the advanced stats really illustrate how much better Erod looks by the eye test compared to last year, but it's night and day. I mean, it's the confidence, it's the way he's pitching, it's the command, just really everything from top to bottom. He looks healthier, he looks happier. Like, Erod just looks way better this season for the D-backs, and there are some stats that do back up that Erod is at least having a better season than last year. Like, when we look at the hard contact stats for Erod, exit velocity a little bit lower, hard hit percentage a little bit lower. So we love to see that. Guys are not just getting the barrel to the ball like they did last year. Felt like there was so much loud contact, so many, loud outs given up by Erod last year. And like we always discuss, Erod's season last year kind of got overshadowed by Jordan Montgomery. Like Erod was bad in 2024 for the D-backs, but because Jordan Montgomery was just so much worse, we just didn't really talk about it as much. But Erod was straight up horrendous. 5.04 ERA in 50 innings pitched, a 1.5 ERA. Like he just wasn't good enough. But so far in 2025, I don't think the same is going to be true for Erod. The current pace he's on for the rest of 2025, Erod looks like a guy who should be a mid-rotation starter in Major League Baseball and a guy who should be in a playoff rotation. And right now, the biggest thing that I think he's improved on from last year to this year is his sinker and his slider. Those two pitches have really improved in 2025. And I think it's the sinker more than anything, because in 24, he threw that the fourth most times of any pitch he had. A 308 average allowed on his sinker, a 423 slug allowed on his sinker last season. So far in 2025, a 222 average. Now the slug says 444, but the expected slug is only 274. So the sinker, which he's thrown the third most of any pitch this season, has been super effective for him. Now, it's not just the sinker. Like I said, that slider has also been dominant and deadly, and it was the pitch he threw the least in 2024. He throws it the fourth most now in 2025, so he's still not throwing it a ton, but maybe he should throw it more because he has a sub 170 average allowed with a sub 170 slugging allowed, and those two pitches have been the two most effective pitches for Erod probably this season, outside of his changeup, which is one of his most go-to pitches. But I think the sinker has really been the game changer for him in 2025. And I think it's because when you look at the ground ball rate for Erod, opposing hitters are just crushing the ball into the ground. Ground ball rate in 2024, 36%. But in 2025, it's 45%. And I have to believe it's because that sinker has been so much more effective in 2025, has led to an increase in ground balls for opposing hitters. And that's okay. Maybe Erod, as he gets older, becomes more of a contact pitcher, wants opposing hitters to just beat the ball into the ground. There's a lot of guys who are good starters like that in Major League Baseball. Maybe they're not your number one or number two, but for what the D-backs want out of Erod, considering we have Corbin Burnes and Pfaadt around for the next few seasons, if Erod is a mid-3 ERA pitcher that just racks up a ton of ground balls, he's been great at the double play ball this season, the D-backs will definitely take that. So like to see the major improvements from Erod in year 2 with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he's going to have to go out there and pitch pretty well because we got another potential pitching duel with Edward Cabrera. The thing that's really interesting about Edward Cabrera versus Erod is these are like two super really talented guys, but it always gets overshadowed by their health issues. Like Erod, Cabrera is always in and out the Marlins rotation. And if you told a Marlins fan or a D-backs fan entering the season, or just fans of Erod and Cabrera entering the season, if you told that guy, hey, that pitcher is going to give you 200 innings pitched this season, what kind of year are they going to have? That person would probably tell you they're going to put up borderline all-star, if not all-star numbers. Because Erod throughout his career, whenever he's been healthy, he's looked like an all-star. And Cabrera, I think, has flashes and the potential and the talent to be an all-star. But his issue is he can never stay on the mound either. And he's got himself a wicked changeup. He's a guy that could throw hard, mid to high 90s, but it's the changeup he throws more often than any other pitch, and the most deadly pitch he has. He's only made one start in 2025, so the sample size is small, but he used that changeup the most, and he's used it the most throughout his career. Now, the pitch that you actually do want to wait on, if you're Edward Cabrera, is that fastball, because his fastball is frankly, has been crushed throughout his career. And so if you're Lourdes Gurriel, if you're Eugenio Suarez, two guys who have struggled with the fastball, going against a guy who struggles with his fastball, maybe this could be a get right game for Gurriel and Suarez if they can get a hold of a fastball by Cabrera. Gurriel actually has a little bit of success. He's like 1 for 4 or 1 for 3 with a home run against Cabrera in his career. So hopefully we can see some power get going from Suarez and continue to get going from Gurriel as he had a home run in the game today. But I think what we care more than anything, Erod, can he keep the good vibes going? If Pfaadt had one more out, it would have been 7 straight quality starts by Dbacks pitcher. In my mind, I'm just going to consider it a quality start. So can Erod give us another pseudo quality start in game 3 against the Marlins? That's the thing I'm watching out for the most. Now, that's it for this edition of the Locked on Diamondbacks podcast. Come back tomorrow for more Diamondbacks news coverage and insight. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Dose it.